Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today I want to talk about 5 tips, 5 things to do to simplify your life. Now this is not necessarily about minimalism, though I think minimalism usually helps simplifying your life because it's not about sacrificing things that are important to you. It's not about living a too simple life that is boring or anything like that. It's just about making complicated things more easy. And to make this video as simple as possible, let's just get started with my first tip. And that is make default decisions. Like implement systems that make it very easy to make a decision. An example in my life would be my jacket. I only own one. Now this is maybe not practical for everybody and it doesn't mean that you need to have only one jacket, but for me that means that I do not have to make a hard decision about which jacket I want to wear. If I need a jacket, I wear that jacket. If I don't need a jacket, I don't wear a jacket. And I know that's maybe a drastic step, but I hope you understand what I mean by that. Because that means that there is just a lot of questions, a lot of space, a lot of money saved by that simple step. I know which jacket I'm going to wear. And that is the same for me for a backpack. I only own one backpack. But it doesn't only mean that you can have one thing of each category, because that also applies for my shoes. And I own 4 pairs of shoes. But I own 1 pair of sandals, 1 pair of winter boots, 1 pair of sneakers for like outdoor activities, and 1 pair of shoes that are a bit chicer. And so it's always pretty clear which one I'm going to pick. This, of course, also works if you have 10 of the same black t-shirt, because no matter which one you pick, you just pick the black t-shirt. But I think while all of that might sound like you don't have a lot of choice, I suggest applying this method to areas in your life where choice is not important to you, where it just makes sense that you have something that works easy. You have your go-to solution that you can follow each time. For some people that might mean only cooking 7 different dishes each week, so you always have the same thing on Monday, you always have the same thing on Tuesday. For other people that might mean that you go to the same place for a vacation each and every year because you already know how it is there, that you like it, that you can relax there. No matter which items or decisions you apply this to, there are areas in our lives where we do not care for variety or options because it's not about artfully picking something. It's just about getting it done and having something that works smoothly. And so I think creating these default processes, these default decisions can really make our lives a lot easier, simpler, but without losing any of the joy and possibilities, because we just apply to areas where that is the best thing to do. My second tip is something that is talked about in the minimalism community, but I think it's something that makes sense for everybody. No matter how many things you own, if you apply minimalism to your life or not at all, and that is have a place for each item. I know that can sound daunting. I know that can sound like organization freaks. But I think it just totally makes sense, because that, I think, is the worst enemy when it comes to keeping your house organized and tidy, is not knowing where to put stuff, because it means you just have something, you need to put it somewhere, and you first need to like find space, make a new decision, create space, tidy something else, because you just don't know where to put it. And in contrast to that, if you apply this technique of having a place for each and every item, this means that it's very easy. It really doesn't need any brain power to just put back the things that you have used. Of course, that also means creating a new space for everything that enters your home for the first time. And that requires a bit of energy, a bit of planning, a bit of thinking, but it only has to be done once and then it has a place and you always know where to put it back. Of course, I also do not follow that 100%. I'm not 100% perfect at always putting back the things that I've just used. But generally, having a place for everything makes my life a lot easier, because I just can get rid of so many decisions, of so much like searching for things because I don't know where it is. It's making my life a lot easier. I would always do that. I hope I'll do that for the rest of my life, and I can highly encourage you to try that if you're not already doing something similar or actually having a place for each and everything you own. The next thing also has to do with wardrobes, because I think a lot of us do care or think a lot about our clothes, do spend a lot of money on our clothes, do waste a lot of time on our wardrobes, and so I think this is a crucial one. And so my third tip to simplify your life is getting into outfit repeating. I've made an entire video about outfit repeating that I'm gonna link you up here, but I think it only has benefits and not really any downsides. Because if you have your favorite outfits, you already know how you look in them. You already know how they work. You already know what they can do, how they perform, and you just don't have to create a new one. Contrary to what we are thinking, most people don't really realize what we are wearing. They cannot memorize our outfits from the last 50 days. You can try to memorize other people's outfits if you want to, and most of us will realize that we just don't know and that it's just not the most important thing. So I think having staple outfits, having outfits you can wear again and again and again is more sustainable, it's a lot easier, it saves you money, and it's also just making your life a lot simpler because again, you just have your favorite looks that you've already created that you can just go back to and already know what they're giving you, already know that you're feeling good in, that they perform well, and that you can then just think about the more important things and you don't have to waste your time on picking the outfit or worrying about what you're wearing, if it will work, and so on. The fourth tip I have to simplify your life might sound counterintuitive and it's definitely not the easiest thing to do, but I think it will pay off and it will make your life a lot easier once you start to implement it. And that is be honest with yourself. And that doesn't only apply to like stuff, it definitely also applies to activities, other decisions, how you feel and things like that. Sometimes we lie to ourselves and sometimes we even think that's easier. But I think over the long run, it always makes sense to be honest with yourself. It makes sense to be honest with yourself before making purchasing decisions, because otherwise you try to tell yourself you need something and you waste money on something that is not going to bring you joy in the end. So you have lost that money and you have to deal with it. You have to declutter it again. And that will just not end up making your life easier. When it comes to activities, be honest with yourself. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that with these people? Would you rather do something else? Is it something you really love but are scared of? That also means you can then figure out a way of doing it if it's still something you really want to pursue. Also, be honest with yourself when it comes to your feelings. I think all feelings are valid, and no matter if it's a feeling about an item you want to buy, if it's a feeling about a person, if you're just feeling good or bad, I think it's valid and it's easier to then deal with the reality than trying to portray something that's just not there. Don't try to love things that you just realized are not for you. Don't try to keep friendships with people that just don't lead anywhere, and don't try to make yourself feel a certain way if that's just not what's the reality. And I think that really creates a snowball effect. Being more honest with yourself leads to more authentic thoughts and experiences and conclusions, which helps you making better decisions in the future. And then realizing how you feel about these decisions really helps you, again, going forward into a direction that adds value to your life, that makes your life easier, that leads you to where you want to go in life. So I think it's a whole mindset thing and it's a whole journey, of course. But I think trying to be honest with yourself, even if it sometimes feels like it's not making your life easier, but harder, in the end, I think it will only help you to actually live a simpler, easier, and more fulfilled life. And then the fifth thing I want to say is that even though I am all for like go-to processes, default decisions, and creating systems that work so that you can just follow what you set out for, decisions that you made in the past that work for you over a long period of time, I also want to say the opposite. I do want to say be spontaneous. Sometimes trying to make your life easier and simplifying your life by creating the best systems and optimizing workflows, and everything just makes everything more complicated. So I think it is always valid to just be spontaneous. Just feel like you're feeling right now, making a decision that goes against the other things while being honest with yourself. And I think that can just lead to a fuller life. Because not everything in life can be planned, not everything in life will happen the way we anticipate it. You maybe find the best treasures on a detour, so it does make sense to sometimes leave the path that is in front of you. It still makes sense to make another decision that maybe doesn't sound that obvious for many people, that maybe doesn't feel like the simplest thing to do, but sometimes it's actually just about experiencing, about listening to yourself, be spontaneous, live your life, and maybe learn something new that you haven't even known was very important to you, or that you haven't even known you were excited for and wanted to do. Of course, there it makes sense to be careful when it comes to finances. It makes sense to be careful when it comes to maybe destroying other plans you've had before. But I still think in the end, we have to make a decision that's right for us right now. And we cannot always live off the systems and plans we've had for our lives for the past 10 years. Now, I would be really interested in hearing from you what you do to simplify your life, what the things are that really help you live a fulfilled and not that complicated life. And if you like this video, you could give it a thumbs up, because that would really help my channel. I am also going to link you a video here and a playlist here that you can watch if you have time now and if you're interested. And also, I hope to see you next time. Bye!